Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. Love talking Niners football with all of you, and today's show presented by our friends at Manscaped. If you go to manscaped.com/49ers and enter the promo code 49ers, you get 20% off plus free shipping on the best men's grooming products. 49ers offseason winners and losers coming at you here on the 49ers Report. Let's start off with some of the winners, and I want to kick off today's show by just mentioning that Trent Williams had a hell of an offseason and a hell of a summer. Signed that record-setting deal worth 6 years, $138 million in NFL free agency. And yes, he's entering year 2 with the Niners, but he is in a much better position in San Francisco than he was with the Washington football team, which just got fined $10 million because they have a horrible culture on the East Coast. When you look at organizations in terms of stability, culture, winning, it's 49ers over the Redskins all day. And now Trent Williams going to be able to be locked in with this organization for the next 6 years. Yes, there's an opt-out after year 3, but for him, he's in a prime position to succeed. He plays one of the most important positions on this roster. He's rich, and he's going to be able to compete for Super Bowls for years to come. Also, USA Today put out a list of the best left tackles in the National Football League. They have Trent Williams ranked number 2. Here's what they had to say in that breakdown. Williams sat out the entire 2019 season due to friction between himself and his former team, but it didn't take long for him to hit the ground running in his new home. Williams allowed 3 sacks in his first 4 games back in action, but gave up just 1 sack after that, along with 3 quarterback hits and 9 quarterback hurries from week 5 on. Those are elite numbers from Trent Williams, and I think you saw last year, once he found his groove, once he started to learn this scheme coming over from the Washington football team, he also sat out in 2019, as USA Today pointed out. He became one of the best left tackles in football. The Niners realized his value. That's why he was able to secure the bag. Another 49ers offseason winner, it's Trey Lance, and I think it's pretty easy to say this. He was drafted to a stable franchise with a great foundation, a lot of talent around him, which is going to allow him to flourish and succeed. And this is a Niners team with a proud history. You talk about all those Super Bowls, led by Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jerry Rice, as well as Bill Walsh. And why I think Lance is just destined for success and why I have him listed as a winner, he has Kyle Shanahan as his head coach. This has the potential to be an elite quarterback head coach combo. It's almost like the CEO and the COO of a company. If you get those 2 positions right, your business is destined to have success. If you get the head coach and the quarterback right, you're going to be able to compete for Super Bowls, and it's my belief that the Niners have those 2 spots locked down. Kyle Shanahan is an offensive wizard, and he's going to put Trey Lance in a bunch of positions to succeed, both through the air as well as on the ground. And here's the thing, too. There is limited pressure on Trey Lance. Why is that? He doesn't have to start from week 1. You have a Super Bowl-ready roster going into the 2021 campaign and a quarterback who helped lead you to the Super Bowl 2 years ago in Jimmy Garoppolo. If Trey Lance is not ready to start the season, he doesn't have to play, and you don't have to risk his confidence going down the toilet. If he's not ready, sit him behind Jimmy G, who got tutored by Tom Brady. It's a pretty good position to be in, but if he is ready, has Kyle Shanahan as his coach, has a bunch of elite offensive weapons, and he will be able to flourish from day 1. Another offseason winner, Aaron Banks, and it's another rookie in this 2021 draft class along Trey Lance, and Aaron Banks going to have an opportunity at some point in the future to protect Trey Lance. Why I have him as a winner? Went higher than a lot of people had expected in the draft. People had him pegged as a 3rd-round guy. He went with the 48th overall pick in the 2nd round. And he's going to have an opportunity to start right away. And I actually think Aaron Banks is going to be the week 1 starter as long as he's able to stay healthy. Throughout rookie minicamp, as well as OTAs, there have been some rave reviews about Aaron Banks. This guy is massive. He's like 6'4", 6'5". Some sites have him listed at 330, 340, 350 pounds. And while some people had pegged him not as a scheme fit in Kyle Shanahan's zone scheme, a lot of people have warmed up to that idea. This is a guy who's going to be a mauler in the ground game. I think he's going to be better than expected in the pass game, and he's going to be able to do some damage in the trenches. Last winner here, Mcglinchey. A lot of Niners fans watching might say, why is Mike Mcglinchey an offseason winner? As we know, he was shredded last year because he wasn't good in 2020. His play was pretty porous, but the pressure is going to be off of him going into 2021 because the Niners bulked up their offensive line. I think that really helps him. You re-sign Trent Williams. You bring in Alex Mack. You still have Laken Tomlinson. A lot of people are going to be focused on the rookies and Jalen Moore as well as Aaron Banks. And the focus isn't going to be shifted toward Mike Mcglinchey. It was last year because this offensive line sucked and Mike Mcglinchey didn't play well. But when the offensive line is in need of repairs and it's going down left and right with all the injuries that the line suffered last year, the focus and the mainstay was Mike Mcglinchey. Not going to be the case this year. I think he's an offseason winner. Also, he's going to be rich. His fifth-year option exercised and picked up. That means that he's guaranteed to make $9+ million in 2021 and $10.8 in 2022. So if he doesn't end up playing, at least he's rich. That's why he's an offseason winner. So rate Mcglinchey as a player for me going into this crucial year for him because he was a high-round pick for the Niners a couple years ago. Rate him on the Madden scale because I know a lot of you out there are gamers. Scale it for me from 0 to 100 on the Madden scale. Now, Mike Mcglinchey, he's going to protect Jimmy Garoppolo and at some point Trey Lance so that they can rip the football and chuck dimes. If you want to clean up your balls, you can do so with the Lawnmower 4.0 from Manscaped. Yes, I laughed during some of these reads, but it's true. It is the best men's grooming product tool out there, and it's the same men's grooming product tool that your 49ers use. The Lawnmower 4.0 can be used on your balls, on your chest hair, on your back hair, even on your beard, or if you need to trim up your sideburns, you can utilize the Lawnmower 4.0 as well. Just change the blades, and the good news is they're interchangeable blades, 4 of them to be exact. The battery life lasts forever. There's a light on the 4.0 so that if you go down into the nether region, you can see what you're doing. It won't cut you up. You'll be able to pluck those hairs. You'll be able to clean up those balls and throw pretty balls just like Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. Let's pivot to the 49ers offseason losers. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, in the grand scheme of things, is a loser because the Niners drafted his future replacement in Trey Lance. Of course, we don't know when Trey Lance is going to take over as the starter. It's a matter of when it's going to happen, not if, though. And the pressure is on Garoppolo to perform because if he doesn't in training camp and the preseason and Trey Lance does ball out, he's going to lose his job and he's going to be looking for a gig elsewhere because the Niners aren't going to bring him back on that large salary. Jimmy Garoppolo could get replaced, and his future in San Francisco is somewhat in limbo, especially as the starter. I'm not sure if Jimmy G is going to get replaced from week 1 of 2021. I think he can still play, but the Niners didn't move up to number 3 and exhaust all that draft capital and give it up to draft Trey Lance, not to play him if he is indeed ready or not. Jimmy G in 2019, really good player. Completed nearly 70% of his passes. That's well above league average. He threw for almost 4,000 yards, 27 touchdowns to go along with 13 picks. Jimmy G can play, but the pressure is certainly going to be on him to perform, produce wins, and produce stats, and fend off Trey Lance. I have him as a loser. What do you think, though, Niner gang? Tune in, faithful. Let me know. Type W for he's a winner. Type L for he's a loser. Get your votes in the comment section down below. Similar thought process here with Jimmy Garoppolo as it is with Raheem Mostert. Both of these guys are going to get replaced at some point. Niners looking to the future at the running back position because they drafted Trey Sermon in the 3rd round of the NFL draft and Elijah Mitchell in the 6th round of the draft. And here's the thing with Mostert. Entering the last year of his deal, he's also 29 years old. He's super cheap. And I think this is something to monitor, and we've talked about it a little bit here on the channel. I think Mostert, because of the drafting of Sermon, Mitchell, the signing of Wayne Gallman, Jeff Wilson, even though he's going to be out until around the midway point of the season, I think Mostert could be a trade target because he's a pretty good running back on an expiring contract. And when teams look at what he did in 2019, especially with how affordable he is, they might want to bring him in, especially if they're a running back needy team. 2019, I thought Raheem Mostert was a very good player. And you're looking at a guy who's physical. He also runs about a 4.3 40, so he's very fast and has that pull-away, getaway speed. 137 carries 2 years ago. 772 yards, 5.5 yards per catch to go along with 8 touchdowns. This is a really good player. I'm not knocking him by calling him a loser. I'm not knocking him by saying he could be traded. But obviously the Niners have plans for the future by drafting Sermon and Mitchell. They want to go with the youth movement. Do you think Mostert will be RB1 in week 1? Type S for he's going to be the starter. Type B for backup. Get your votes in down below. 3 more offseason losers because it's a product of what the Niners did in the draft as well as NFL free agency. Daniel Brunskill, he could lose his job and maybe not even make this roster. We'll see. Colton McKivitz maybe had an opportunity to compete for some starting reps or at least a quality backup spot. Not sure that's going to be the case. And Justin School, look, I apologize for putting him as a loser because he did tear his ACL. He's on injured reserve. I don't want to knock him or tear him up because he did get injured, but because of that injury, he was taking over for Trent Williams while Williams was out during minicamp. He was getting some quality snaps. That's not going to be the case because of that injury. Also, I think you're seeing a shift in offensive philosophy with what Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel, the offensive coordinator, are looking for when evaluating offensive linemen. What they do by drafting Aaron Banks as well as Jalen Moore. Those guys are massive. And they have talked about in the past how they have valued smaller linemen, but in an effort to avoid some injuries and become a more physical team, with also keeping in mind that they're going to go with a more run-heavy approach whenever Trey Lance takes over as the quarterback because of all the RPOs, they went with bigger offensive linemen. So once again, I think it hints at more of an offensive philosophy change from Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel. Those 3 offensive linemen who I just mentioned as losers in Brunskill, McKivitz, as well as School, they're smaller guys, so I'm not even sure they figure into the Niners' future plans as an organization at the offensive line spot. That's why I have them listed as losers. So I listed several players as winners or losers going into 2021 from this past offseason. Did I not name somebody who you think should be on this list as either a winner or a loser? Be sure to get your names in the comment section down below and let me know who your winners and losers are.